The NAIA had its two national semifinal contests on Saturday. There were two separate games that had two different fields in two different parts of the country and looked totally different when you put them up side by side. But when all is said and done, there is now a matchup for the national championship. And if you like rematches, that's what you're going to get. It's a rematch of the 2024 championship. However, it's going to be played in a totally new venue. And Fort Worth, Texas is soon to be the capital of NAIA football. Good evening. Welcome to College Football This Week. I'm Joey McWilliams along with Doug Gant tonight. And listen, if you are watching us live, let me go ahead and encourage you, get on into the chat tonight. Let us know which of these two teams. I don't care if, Doug, if it's been any one of the 94 teams all year long that have been competing for the NAIA title. It is now down to two. So tell us which one you are going to be looking in. Welcome in, Doug.
Thank you, Joey. It certainly is a pleasure to be here, and I know the excitement of it. And I missed your show Sunday night. We've just had Thursday night. That shows you how crazy I am. This is Sunday, but I missed the show Thursday night. We've had high school basketball going on all week long, but man, it's so exciting. You and I talked. I guess the point I was making. You and I talked about how the NAIA got things right when those guys over there didn't. And it's nice to see the playoffs play like this and get the two teams in there that I certainly feel should be. You know, it's a rematch from last year, Grandview and Kaiser. And I let the cat out of the bag 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were on the show the first time of who I told you I was with. And I'm not moving off of Kaiser. So I hate to break it early on, but there you go.
That's all right. There's no stress there, Doug. And I know there are a lot of folks that are with you along the way. As a matter of fact, one of them in particular, I know that Michael Brooks is definitely cheering for the Seahawks, but of course he's right down there in South Florida. Shout out to everyone watching tonight. Michael, giving a shout out to Go Seahawks. And let me go ahead and throw those up there. There you are, Michael. Go Seahawks, no doubt, as it's family for Michael. He's had a grandson that played on that Seahawks team for the last 3 years. They're making it to their fourth consecutive championship game. Back-to-back championship game appearances for Grandview. Sean, thanks for watching tonight. Leo, I know it was not the outcome you wanted. We're going to talk about that game in just a moment, but I appreciate you being on here tonight. They were some great games. Dave, absolutely. They were some fun games, and I hope that you get to do it like I did. Maybe you got to do it like I did. Matt, I'll tell you what, your handle changes just about from week to week. So I'm assuming that it's still Matt. I'm hoping it's there. Is it always a great day to be a Comet? Let's go back, Doug, really quickly. And I got to set it up where I had two different windows on the same monitor. I was going to do two different monitors, but just put it the way it was. Grandkids over at the house, lots of things going on. And you look at those two different monitors with the Grandview Benedictine game over here, the Kaiser College of Idaho game over here, they just looked like two different worlds.
You know, it really did. And I think what makes things so different, Joey, is what makes this so special is that it all gets to come together on this coming Saturday. But you're right. If you watch those two things side by side, which you were able to do, I was unfortunately not able to do that. You looked at it and go, how in the world are these all going to come together? And that's the beauty of football.
Yeah, it was very warm, very pleasant in West Palm Beach. But let's go ahead and get started with the Grandview Benedictine game. 7 degrees, 8 degrees. I was reading different things. If any one of you all were up there, and I think Tool Envy said he was going to be up there, so I'm still looking for pictures. Joey at MidwestSports.net. Send the pictures. Starts off Grandview, of course, now 27 consecutive wins with the 17-10 victory over Benedictine in Des Moines. The key point to the game, as far as I was concerned, since there was no score in the second half, it's 10-10 at the half. The defenses really have buckled in here, and they have done their respective jobs. Late in the third quarter, Benedictine forced a 3-and-out from the Vikings, and pretty quickly they get the ball back. They have to punt. Grandview punts. The punt return is fumbled, and Grandview gets it back on the Benedictine 26. 2 Ethan Schultz carries, and then an 8-yard pass from Jackson Waring to Tristan Williams for what proved to be the game-winning score. 17-10 was the score with 1 minute, 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And Benedictine, by the way, it wasn't over. It absolutely was not over yet, because the Ravens had 3 more chances in the fourth quarter, Doug. You get the ball back and go a little ways, then a punt. Grandview, defense holds for the Ravens. They punt, get it back, drive all the way down into the red zone, and then a 35-yard missed field goal. And it felt for Benedictine 1 for 3 on field goal attempts on the day. Benedictine gets it back, and they're deep in their own territory, Doug, and a fake punt deep in their own territory. Looks like they're going to get it. They don't. Benedictine gets the ball back, goes for it on fourth down themselves. Jackson Dooley picks up the first down on a great carry. Now you're inside the 10. Now it's on the 4-yard line, 4 downs, and the Vikings defense held. Big-time effort by Grandview and that last possession, and they hold on to a 17-10 win.
You know, Joey, if we'd have went back and we'd have had this discussion and we were able to talk about it on Thursday, if you'd have said, Doug, this game's going to be both teams down in the teens, I'd have thought Benedictine would have came out of there with that win. I really would have. You know, their defense was very impressive, but we've seen that all throughout the playoffs as well. And it continued throughout the end of that game. But if you told me that this game was going to be down in the teens, I'd have thought Benedictine would have had it.
Absolutely. And I, you know what, I would probably agree with you on that point. It did come down to turnovers, and Leo mentions every single play mattered, and that really was the case. And I don't know about you, I had the feeling after that the punt was caught, the return was caught, you get a step or two, and then, you know, unfortunately for Benedictine, lose the ball in brutally cold weather. A little bit inclement along the way with the snow on there, and I just felt like, you know, this is the key, and it turned out to be, because nobody scored it after that point. And so, you know, with every play mattering, even just one turnover makes all the difference in the world. But special teams were an issue too, because the Ravens did try. Coach Osborne tried 3 field goals, successful on only 1.
When you start doing that too, that just shows that you've got to throw everything at a team like Grandview in this one, and they're going to come and do things like that, and you just don't know what you're going to get out of it. But you know, so here's a question that I have for you now. You've got those conditions. Of course, you had the conditions at Kaiser playing, and we'll talk about them a little bit. You come into what's predicted to be pretty nice weather on Saturday, coming in, in the 70s, I believe, is what I saw. It should warm back up. Does that affect a team that's used to grinding it out in the snow like they've done every game that I've seen?
I'll tell you what, I think, and I know that we'll talk about it a little bit more on Thursday, I think Jackson Waring is just ready to be loosed. I just feel like, you know, if in Fort Worth, Cowtown, which if you haven't been there, and some of you all are going to make the trip down to that Fort Worth area, and in this part of the country, there are lots of rodeos. Yes. And to me, if you've ever seen a rodeo and you ever look and you're waiting for that bull to be let out, you know, it's the bull riding. There are lots of different events, but the bull riding is there, and that bull is just ready to go. And when somebody pulls that rope and opens up that gate, and that bull gets out and just does his thing, I don't know that I'm necessarily comparing Waring to a bull, but maybe I think he's ready to make something happen. I think all of those players in Vikings red are ready to make something happen. So they're going to just welcome this pleasant weather.
Look, and that's one of my notes too that I've looked at is the quarterback play in this game, because I'm such a fan of Spencer, the Seahawks quarterback is the dude. I mean, I'm just a fan. The quarterback play in this game is going to be phenomenal.
Well, it should be. And to go over some stats from this game, speaking of Jackson Waring, 5 for 12 passing, 36 passing yards. That statistic will not hold true on Saturday. It will be much more than that on Saturday. But again, in single-digit weather and with the wind chill too, it likely was below 0 up there in Des Moines. I don't know if anyone got to be a part of that as that's in the community right now. Michael says 70s with high humidity. Well, welcome to
welcome to the South.
That's exactly what it is around here quite a bit, as a matter of fact. Waring 15 carries, 69 yards rushing, had a touchdown and a pick as well. Bryant Williams with the 1 rushing touchdown for the day for Grandview, 10 carries, 97 yards rushing. The big 35-yard touchdown run in the second quarter that put Grandview on the board. Dalton Van Pelt, another big day, 13 carries, 78 yards rushing. Grandview outgained Benedictine on the ground, 281 to 148, nearly doubling up what the Ravens had. And then John Argo. Second-team All-American. He and Jackson Fowler, both second-team All-Americans, according to the AFCA list that came out this past week. Argo had 8 tackles on the day, but 2 of the 4 stops in that final series, when it came down and Benedictine had first and goal on the 4, 2 of those stops Argo was directly responsible for, including breaking up the pass on the final play for Benedictine. Absolutely huge. His 1 tackle for loss, he stopped that actually was in that series as well. So a big day for him. Jackson Fowler, 8 tackles. Casey Trudeau, 9 tackles to lead the way for Grandview. And Jackson Dooley, by the way, for Benedictine, 50% passing. That is a great number in that weather. Ordinarily, I wouldn't say that's a phenomenal number. You have to say it is in this one. 11 for 22, 102 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks. Xavier Ugorgi, 22 carries, 64 yards rushing, had a rushing touchdown as well. That was the 4-yard touchdown run that capped an 82-yard drive to open the scoring for Benedictine. Ugorgi had another solid day, but ultimately it comes up, and Grandview is going to march on into the championship game once again.
They are, and this is something that they looked at from the start of Grandview getting back to it. But I'm going to tell you, Joey, every game that I looked at, Grandview's getting everybody's best shot. They don't hide from anybody. And the fact that they can go up there and do it in that kind of weather, still continue at 7 degrees, the wind chill, we've been through all of that. I agree with your bull assessment, not your bull, the reference to.
We'll clip that.
That's right. It's just this. It's going to be exciting to see. And as much as you like home field advantage, as much as you like all of this, when you got a championship, I want it decided in 70 degrees and humidity and sun. And I want it high. This showdown at high noon. Texas is famous for that type of stuff. I mean, these guys. This is a showdown coming up.
Noon Central is when kickoff is going to be, and that is 6 days from today. So looking forward to that one. Crowley ISD, the field is phenomenal. I'll tell you, Doug, I've been there a number of times. Looking forward to going back. Already been there once this year and got to watch Texas Wesleyan take care of business against a very, very, very tough Wayland Baptist team. But it's going to be a great field, great opportunity. And if you're making your way to that area, Fort Worth does have a lot to offer. It's the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but this is specifically on the west side. And really, Crowley is a little bit south of Fort Worth proper. So, if you're coming in there, that's what you need to look for. Let's move ahead and go to the other game. And as Michael mentioned, 70s with high humidity. I would imagine that's just right on par for what you'd get at West Palm Beach. 70s with, high humidity, not that far from the coastline there. Kaiser did what it needed to do for the second time in 3 years, rallied to get a win over College of Idaho at home in a national semifinal. It was a different rally this time. Took care of business in the third quarter. Kaiser now 61-0 when scoring 30-plus points. We'll talk about that in the Bet the Barn segment in just a little bit. 30 straight wins in the state of Florida. Kaiser went up 9-0. A Shea Spencer 31-yard touchdown run to open the scoring, and that was just a precursor of what was to come because Spencer was going to have a day. And then a high snap on a punt sent back outside the back of the end zone. 9-0. Kaiser goes up on the miscue by College of Idaho. And then Caden Young, and I know not to bet against Caden Young, at least anymore in 2025, had himself a second quarter, 21 straight points in the second quarter. It was the Caden Young show, 2 touchdown passes and a 65-yard touchdown run to make the score 21-9 at the half. College of Idaho looking really good. Oh, but wait, there's more. Kaiser came back in the third quarter. Shea Spencer with a 2-yard touchdown run near the end of the third quarter. College of Idaho looked like we're going to extend the lead, had a touchdown pass completed in the end zone, but pass interference, they call that one back. And so it's still 21-16. Kaiser gets the ball back. Third play of the fourth quarter was a 41-yard Shea Spencer touchdown run. They take the lead, go for 2, don't get it, doesn't matter, 22-21. Get the ball back. Another touchdown for Kaiser, this time Shea Spencer to Dallas D'Souza. get the ball back. Well, no, actually, College of Idaho threatened at that point. They answered, but then bam, bam, quickly it's Shea Spencer once again, this time to Rico Portia. Caps off the scoring. Kaiser wins 36-27. It really was all Kaiser in the second half. I get it. The College of Idaho had opportunities, but you had the idea and the feel then. The halftime speech was enough. Props, by the way, to Kaiser and everyone to have Coach Miles Russ back in the fold, which we've been praying for him and really excited to see that he was back there. So it had to be some kind of a halftime speech, Doug.
It was, and again, it's not anything that these guys are new at. But if you get so how do you've got all of this going on? You've got the team that Kaiser is. They've had a week off to get ready for it. We all know that story. But then that inspiration as well. You can't write stories like this, and here it is unfolding in front of us every day. And as much as you're thinking about wearing and getting him loose and getting him opened up, Shea Spencer is rolling, and he's been rolling, and that's why I like the work that they're doing. I can't talk enough about the quarterback play in this game of what it's going to be. But he goes out and Spencer does exactly what he's done and that we've seen him do. I don't think anybody expected this type of a day, but big time players make big time plays. And I know that's cliche. I know it is, but man, it hits home.
And Spencer's been around doing it for a long, long time and been an integral part of getting Kaiser to national championship games in the past. And now the Kaiser Seahawks are going to be appearing in their fourth consecutive championship game. And I'm not sure, I need to check on that, but just I would say you'd have to go back to Carroll back in the early 2000s to find the last time a team competed in 4 consecutive championship games. Oh, and by the way, Carroll won 4 straight too. So, we know what the Saints can do. Historically great here in the 21st century. Leo, looking at that really quickly, got to watch the game on 2 different devices. Whatever it takes to get there. I thought about putting one of them on the big TV, but Bluey took over when the grandkids came in, so I was limited to my one device there. Michael got to watch both games. I was wondering if you were going to get to make it, Michael, if you were going to be there. Leo, you were talking about every play counting, and exactly that was what the case was. Every play counted. And then, of course, Michael, Coach Russ and Kaiser following the game. I did not get to see the interview following the game. I'll have to get that. I'm sure it's online, so we'll have to find a way to get that. But it really was nice to get to see him. He was interviewed by Danny Solomon, who works on staff there at Kaiser. And it was about a 25-minute show, doing the coaches show. But the first 5 minutes were just Coach Russ talking about what he had been through and how he is excited about the fact that he could be back on the field again. And, when you have situations like that in life, I've experienced, Doug, this in the last, 18 months. And when you have that opportunity to, look around in the ICU and go, what's going on? You do look at everything a little bit differently when you come out the other side. And I praise God for the opportunities God's given me. And I'm also praising God because we were all praying for Coach Russ as well.
Look, it just shows you how big our God is. And there'll be another segment when we can go through some incidents that happened in my life as well. And I think it's wonderful stories. And you and I'll share dinner and talk about that over there. But, man, you got to be careful not to get caught up in football or sports in general just being all that's in your life. But I'm telling you that life and football together, it makes it so special. And to see that kind of inspiration and that kind of a comeback, I've got to go and find the interview myself because I didn't know there was one until right now. And I just want to go back and see that as well. But what a tremendously great story that is.
All right, Robert, glad you're here on a Sunday night. Glad to see you. Thanks for showing up. I know we'll talk a little bit more about the game ahead. And yeah, Michael, I figured it was on the Kaiser webpage. Thank you very much for letting us know about that and all the folks here in the community. Incidentally, on a side note, I know I've been talking about the community. I do talk about the community here on Midwest Sportsnet quite a bit. I don't know that it needs a name. I'm thinking about the neighborhood because after the COVID era, Midwest Sportsnet, I've kept the name because I've worked hard to build this name. But, we go coast to coast. And we talked to a lot of folks like Henchman 21 that are out in the Mountain Time Zone, the folks that are out there in the Frontier area, and of course Michael and a few of you all are out there in what we say here back east. So I think we go coast to coast here on the channel. Doug, I'll be taking names for the name of our community here, but it's a fantastic community. So anyway, stats really quickly from the game. Doug, Shea Spencer, 22 of 37 passing, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 1 pick, but credit to College of Idaho on defense. And Dave had said that he'd seen it up close. He knew this was going to be a quality team in College of Idaho. Spencer also 7 carries for 80 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, responsible for all 5 of the touchdowns on the day for Kaiser. Jaden Miller, 19 carries, 101 rushing yards. Elisha Smiley Edwards, 8 catches, 153 receiving yards. And Malik Raz, a sophomore, hometown boy from West Palm Beach, he had 9 tackles and 1 interception on the day. For the Yotes, Caden Young, another good day. Not quite enough ultimately. 14 of 25 passing, 281 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw 1 pick. He had a couple of rushing touchdowns as well. 18 carries, 131 yards. Torrey Watkins, 4 catches, 145 yards for the Yotes, and both of those receiving touchdowns. And Mason Pretty had 3 tackles, but 4 pass breakups for the Yotes on defense. So the championship game is set, and it will be Grandview taking on Kaiser once again. 2024 carries over into 2025. They've been the top 2 teams all year long, though, Doug.
They have, and that's what you'd expect. So it's not going out on a limb for us to pick those 2 to be there. But I think the difference to it, wasn't it, Riley Byington had such a big game a week ago in College of Idaho's upset or defeat of Montana Tech in that one. And he was really held under 100 yards in this one. And so that was, I think, one of the big differences because he just dominated up there at the Montana Tech game.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and say upset. I even as just a 1-loss team at the time that College of Idaho was, the way that Montana Tech had been playing all year long. And, it's one of those things, too, with Tech and Friends, both of them in the quarterfinals coming up just a little bit short. Maybe not their best games, and you hate that for a team to have something that's not your best game when you're playing in the postseason. You always want it to be something there, but credit also to Benedictine and College of Idaho for the wins over those 2 previously undefeated teams. And now we have Grandview and Kaiser moving on. All right. We're going to get
Before you get out.
Oh, no.
Before you get out into the Bet the Barn, I'm going to tell you one of the key factors in this, and you talked about him in the stats, Smiley Edwards. They've got to find a way to get him loose and let him do what he does in this game. And he's going to be a difference maker, I believe, is something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Edwards has been over the course of the season. I agree with you. He's someone that should be looking for. Well, we already know. We know what your pick is. You've already said up front it's Kaiser. I'm not saying until Thursday, and there's a reason for that. But we can talk about that a little bit later on. We'll get to the Bet the Barn in just a moment. But before we do, we have coaching news. Now, we have talked about this. I think try to get these in every show. And by the way, if you did not know, we're going to be doing college football this week is going to be going through the off season, and we're going to keep this on Midwest Sportsnet and beyond, by the way, year round. So keep that in mind. We're going to keep up with college football this week. Now that the channel itself will continue to cover other sports. We're in basketball season right now.
Yes.
Baseball and softball, not too far away, believe it or not, and so much other stuff that's out there. But we're going to keep doing college football year round. That in mind, Doug, there will be 96 teams that play in 2026. Okay, we already know that 8 teams were going to have a new head coach coming into the next fall. Well, that number increased to 9 as we found out on Thursday that Rocky Mountain head coach Chris Stutstream was going to be stepping out of his position at head coach. So that's the 9th team that's going to have at least a new 9th team at least now that's going to have a new head coach in 2026. Now, one of those has already been filled. The position at Waldorf has been filled. David S. Callaway, former coach at Central Methodist, is taking over as the head coach in Forest City. This reported, by the way, also by footballscoop.com, and fairly reliable site there, saying that Chris Stutstream, who stepped out, and the Rocky Mountain College website said, Okay, it's going to be another coaching opportunity. They didn't say, and I totally get that. You're rarely going to see, a school say, "Oh, by the way, here's the other school our coach is going to now." So you're
Right.
not often going to see that. Footballscoop.com is saying that Coach Chris Stutstream is going to be the new head coach at the new Bismarck State College football team, which will start play in 2027. So there you go.
How about that? You heard it here. Well, it's not first,
You didn't
but
hear it
second,
from
but
us
close
first.
enough anyway.
Yeah, but at least there. So that's getting that program started in 2027. Of course, that will be then the 15th team in the Frontier Conference. And you say, hey, that's going to be the biggest conference. Not so fast, because Mount Mercy is fielding a team in 2026. And I believe that will be in the Hart Conference. That should be 15 teams there. So
look,
that Hart
conference is something else. And these conferences that have so many teams, it just man, it blows me away.
It's a lot. It's absolutely a lot.
Yes.
I know that your home conference, the school for which you are the play-by-play person, Sooner Athletic Conference, dropped in membership a little bit this year. So were there only 8 or 9?
There'll be 8 in it because yes. Yeah.
Football teams.
Yeah, and look, in football, that's the only time LC is in the Sooner is in football, because the Red River Athletic Conference doesn't play football.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of teams to keep up with. That's correct. But that's what having the community like it is with you and with those others around, man, it sure makes talking about football year round something special.
It does. I enjoy it. Final note, by the way, on Coach Stutstream, 30-35 as the head coach at Rocky Mountain. He had a share of the Frontier Conference title in 2021, and Coach of the Year honors also in 2021 too. And for those of us who live here in the Sooner State, which at last count is me and Robert right now. I don't know if anyone else in the community is who's online right now is a Sooner State guy, but Coach Stutstream is a Lawton-ite grad. So he graduated from Lawton Eisenhower. There we go. Charles is back in the chat tonight. Doug, have to give a shout out to Charles.
There you go.
He bet his barn on Friends, and now he's home. Sorry about that, Charles. I hate that for you, but I think I did too. So that's all right. All right. Robert's giving me a boomer, so I have to. It's state law. I think I have to go ahead and follow that with a Sooner. So just
you don't. Wow.
You need to do that.
So a bit of news from LCU, talking about the team that I cover on there. They've renewed their rivalry with East Texas Baptist. They were old American Southwest Conference teams, one with Mary Hardin Baylor, Hardin Simmons, and those guys in it too. They'll get back the battle for the Border Claw this season. First game will be in October, I think week probably 6 or 7, back on campus in Pineville at LCU. So that's may not mean much to the entire nation, but it sure is cool down here deep in the South.
Well, and those may not know, East Texas Baptist. I'll get this out. East Texas Baptist is a D3 school.
That's
so correct. It's nice to have that rivalry there, especially if Louisiana Christian can come and get the win.
Such an interesting. Now they do hold. LCU does hold the Border Claw. So the last time they played, which was when LC was in D3 before they made the move down to NAIA just a couple of years ago, they played for the Claw, and it is entrenched in a case in Pineville right now. So it's probably one of the ugliest trophies that somebody plays for. But
it sounds like it.
It is, and I'll send you over a picture of it. But yeah, that is the D3 one, and that's an interesting conference. They play each other twice. Because there were only 4 teams in that American Southwest Conference. They actually do a home and home in those. So Mary Hardin Baylor would play there, and then they'd go over and play at ETBU. And then it was really weird to see. But with just 4 conference teams, they play a home and home. Now that changes; it expands this season as well.
Yeah, we'll be keeping up with that. So we look forward to hearing how Louisiana Christian does in that one. But of course, they have enough on the schedule with their Sooner Athletic Conference games. Yes. I'm going to drop this on here just long enough for you to see it. There we go. It's right above
Doug's head. Yep, I'll duck.
All right. Bet the barn from this week. Well, who won? Actually, let me tell you who won that one. Bet the Barn from this week. The winners are Henchman 21 and Tool Envy.
So 2 weeks ago, when I had my first ever Bet the Barn, how did I end up? I don't even recall. Did I get anything right?
You got some right, but you didn't win overall. I don't recall who did. I'll have to look back on that one. But
yeah, I know that, what was it, Friends didn't rush for 400 yards, or one of them.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
They did not. Well, everyone got this one right. And I admit that this was, Robert, did you go 2-0? Robert, let me check, because I think I had you down as picking Kaiser going over 30 points. So correct me if I'm wrong. If I missed on that one, Robert, I apologize, but I think I had you down with Kaiser going over 30 points. This one was an easy one because for the first time I set the over-under way too high. As a matter of fact, it didn't even get half that number. I really felt like this was a little bit of a misdirection just because, the defenses were good, but hey, somebody's going to step it up there and then they can run on that hard turf. That did not happen. Enjoyed, by the way, watching, and I think it was, let me see here. I think it was Tristan Williams for Grandview, or excuse me, Bryant Williams for Grandview. It was Tristan. Yeah. Okay. Bryant Williams for Grandview. Tristan Williams caught the pass. When he made that 30-plus run, the last 10 yards, he was tiptoeing in, just trying to keep his feet planting and not, shifting or losing any grip on that hard turf with the snow still on the turf there as well too. So the Bet the Barn number was way too high, way too high. Everybody picked under. I picked under too, so I got that one right. So where the other folks that won got it right, and Robert may want to check that because I apologize if I missed that. The ones who got it right here were the ones who picked Kaiser with the over. Oh, well, yeah. Robert, you did. Okay. Sorry, Robert. You did have Kaiser with the over. You did go 2-0 also. Robert's won a lot of them already, so I don't feel too badly missing him one time, Doug. I apologize. Yeah, you picked it over. I have that. You have it right. So it was Robert, Henchman 21, and Tool Envy. And you know what? I can actually change this on the fly. There we go. Robert, you're in the mix. Absolutely in the mix. There we go. Charles didn't bet this time. Charles already lost his barn with friends a while back. So we have Tool Envy, Henchman 21, and Robert winning then. And we'll have final numbers on Thursday. We will have a Bet the Barn segment on Thursday, and there are 2 or 3 or 4 of things that we'll have going. All prop bets, not picking anything to win. Let's go to the top 5 performances then and look at those really quickly and get rid of that. I hate for Doug to have to duck this whole time.
It's all right.
Stay away from the Bet the Barn there. All right. Top 5 performances from this weekend. Well, there were only a couple of games, and John Argo, with what he did, he had a tackle for loss and a pass breakup in the 2 of the final 3 defensive stops for Grandview on the day. 8 tackles. John Argo, a fantastic effort. And so he's one of our top 5 performers. Jackson Waring just led the team well. I don't think you can say enough about what he did, just leading the team. So we give props to Jackson Waring on that one. Caden Young in a losing effort, but let's talk about his numbers really quickly. Young, 14 for 25 passing, 281 passing yards, 2 touchdowns thrown, 2 touchdowns run in. He's also one of the top 5 performers. Elisha Edwards, you mentioned him, Doug, needs to have a big game next week. He had 8 catches for 153 yards in this one on Saturday. He had one of our top 5 performances. And Shea Spencer, oh my goodness, Shea Spencer. 5 touchdowns, responsible for all of the TDs scored for Kaiser on Saturday in a national semifinal game. Is this a precursor of what we might see in Fort Worth? Well, we'll talk about that just a little bit more right now, but really tune in on Thursday for this one. That's what I'm encouraging everyone to be a part of and to tune in for. Doug, you mentioned something, and as we start to wrap up our time tonight, knowing that there is a For Real preview show coming up, you talked about the fact that you've been on board with Kaiser for a few weeks now.
Yes.
Tell us why.
I just think I like the team. I like that, but I like the hunter less than the hunted. I mean, and Grandview's there, and it's the easy pick to say Grandview, but Shea Spencer and Edwards and the work that they do, the inspiration is there. Being able to play in the weather out in West Florida like they are, out in Florida like they do, coming over. If they were playing out of that and then going up into a colder, more, Grandview type of style, I don't think I like that as much. But you kind of see Grandview coming down here. I think the nice weather makes for a difference. But Shea Spencer's just at the top of his game. I love what they've done defensively. But when you've got a guy, there's people that play quarterback, and there are people that are quarterbacks. And he's a quarterback.
He definitely is that. He has been around for a while. You should, by the way, of all things, you should go to the Kaiser website for. And we've already talked a little bit earlier about the fact that we encourage everyone to go watch Coach afterward. You should go see the historical picks on the roster page for Shea Spencer. He's been there for a while. I think he has like 6 historical picks. He's been there for a long time.
So we looked at you talk about those, and the COVID year gets into things, the red shirt years and differences. Their young man, and his name escapes me on here, but he's from Pine Prairie, and he's playing for Florida Memorial right now. He was second or third team All-American running back for the NAIA. Gerard Sims.
Gerard Sims.
Graduated high school class of 2019, spent some time at Southern, and now here he's in his second year and was an All-American over there. We've got an interview coming up with him next week as well. But it's this type of story. These guys have been around and been around and been around, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, Spencer definitely, he has this coming. And by the way, one other thing about it, Kaiser won 2 years ago. Shea Spencer he wasn't out there for that. He had been injured. And so this is an opportunity. This is a big time opportunity for him. I think there's a lot to be said there. Lots of folks in the chat. Charles, by the way, says turnovers are going to determine this game like the turnovers have in a lot of the postseason games this year. And I think that's very much a valid point. Charles says, speaking of quarterbacks, and Charles, trust me, we're gonna talk about that quarterback that you know. And in case you don't know, Doug, Charles is the father of one C.J. Brooks, who we look to be seeing more of after he's come back from an injury next year for Graceland. We'll get to talk about him too. Tulin, be glad that you made it in tonight. You won again. So that's there. Let me see. Is there anything else? Anything that's on your mind, Doug?
Look, I'm just grateful. And Friday can't get here quick enough where I get to get on the road for Fort Worth. Going to go to Granbury is where I'll be staying. And I like the folks, if you're coming in and you're just not familiar with that area, Granbury is a neat little town that's just south of, it's about 30 minutes south of where we'll be. And so we're going to stay there and then make our way in that next morning. But if you're new to the show like I am, if you're new to all of it, or this NAIA football is such a great level of it. And I'm looking forward to being on site in sunny old Fort Worth in the home of the Long I. Everything is right over there. So I'm just, this is the most wonderful time of the year. It's great. We had just now had the state championships here Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And one of the games ended up making on Sports Center from the crazy stuff that goes on. Yep. Something's going to happen Saturday that you and I have not discussed, won't discuss, don't know anything about. And we're going to sit back on Sunday night or later in the week and go, yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, I have no doubt. All right, let's start. Let's talk a little bit about Friday and Saturday. Don't forget then, Thursday night preview show right here. Regular time, 8 o'clock here on Midwest Sportsnet. Then I'm going to try to drive up Friday as well. Granbury I'm familiar with, Doug, because one of my daughters performed there at one of the local theaters. She was there working over a summer. She got to spend some time up there. That's my NAI All-American, too. If you're a friend of the channel and you hear me talk about my NAI All-American daughter, That's the one who worked there in Granbury for a summer. So we've been down there and seen that area. It just like everything else in Texas, by the way. There are few places that, like, every town and city in the state have a town square, and I mean wonderful town square. Granbury has a wonderful town square. I have not been to the one in Crowley. I've just been to the outskirts of town because the football stadium is on the outskirts of town. You have to get off I-30, and then you drive off down another road. Then you drive off down another road, and the football stadium is out here in the middle of wherever. So as for Saturday morning, then 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. is when we're going live. Doug's going to be with me for a portion of that show as well, live on Saturday morning. And that's a Midwest Sports Saturday, so be tuned in for that. We won't be able to lock in to say, hey, this is going to start at this time. I'll have to program it in just a little bit differently. Lots of times these are on in advance, and it says, hey, this show's coming up. It'll just go live on Saturday night. One of the cats is in the studio now making noise. So that's at 9 a.m. on Saturday. It'll be 30, 45 minutes, something like that. May go a little bit longer. But the reason that I set it up that way is because we're going to get to see some of the other folks who do NAIA football on that day and get to visit with them. And I know I'm going to be on a couple of other channels broadcast as well. So we're trying to set it up where we can go and visit with other people and do that. Be on radio out in Phoenix. There's Plushy. There we go. Just in case you hadn't seen the cat, this is one of the cats that lives here. So Robert, we'll be on live at 9 Central Time, and then kickoff is noon.
Yep, high noon. So, you just to show you the beauty of home studios, beside me, I don't know if you can see, there's my two dachshunds that lay in here. And look, if I don't let them on the show, let's wake up. We'll see. So this is, she's mad because I woke her up, but they're here with me by my side all the time as well.
I understand. We try to keep them out. Robert, okay, let me ask, is anyone getting to come down while you're still in the chat? Still folks in the chat tonight. Robert, did I see that you might be able to come down for that one? I know it's a little bit farther trip from where you are in the OKC area, but should be a fun afternoon. Anyone else going to try to make the trip down? Michael, I know that you're just out there in West Palm Beach. Good to see you, by the way. Good to see you online. And Michael, who is out at West Palm Beach, shout out to Doug, too. First time to get to see you.
There you go, Michael. Hey.
Anyone else going to try to make the trip? Tool Envy. Well, you know what? I should have seen that. Should have seen that coming. You've been following them pretty closely, but I know the reason. You have relatives there. And also, you're not that far either. By the way, Tool Envy, okay, really quickly, by the way, I didn't get a picture. So if you were there, I'm not sure I believe it until I get a picture at joey@midwestsports.net. So send that email there. All right.
Just to make everybody up in Des Moines feel better about it, it is 33, 34 degrees down here in Louisiana tonight. So there's a freeze warning in effect overnight. So it's getting down to 31 to 32 here. And so they're liable to shut the schools down.
Okay, we're not there. I'm looking. It is 31 here. My daughter didn't want to go outside a while ago, even though there's a meteor shower because it's 31. But yeah, we finally got the weather from Des Moines, not the snow. So that is all right. All right, Robert making the trip down. Tool Envy making the trip down, depending upon how early you wake up on Saturday morning and start the drive. So there we go. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Here. Let's go ahead and get this pattern here. It has 12 hours to go. Tool Envy is going to drive 12 hours to get there. I have 2. You're exactly right. Exactly right. I have 2 right there. So sorry about that one. Charles going to be up in Reading, Pennsylvania. You're going the wrong direction, Charles. That's all right. We'll think of you when we're down and I will be where I've thought about it. Normally, Doug, on for the show. I usually wear shirt and tie for my Midwest Sports Saturday show. Probably will wear that for about this long, and then after that show's over with, we're going with the short sleeves after that. So we'll be out there. All right. Robert says, or excuse me, Michael says church obligation is going to keep him in Florida next week. Really like them. Michael, I have a shirt for you. I'm not even kidding. I actually have a shirt for you. I hope it's the right size. So you'll need to text me your address, because I actually do have a Midwest Sportsnet shirt for you. Should we make a shop? Should we have a merch shop?
Well, we're getting ours underway, and we're going to have a few 446 Sports shirts on hand. So if anybody in the community comes up and says, hey, we watched it on college football this week or wherever it was, or just comes up and says, hey, throw me something, mister.
There you go.
You're going to get a shirt out of the deal.
All right. Charles, by the way, freezing in 66 in Orlando right now.
That's right.
I almost feel bad for you, except I don't. All right. Leo, going to back Grandview this week. We'll talk about all that on Thursday. Hope you're there on Levi or on Thursday, Leo. Family first. Absolutely. Family first. And got 2 videos. I have 2 videos. I see. Okay. All right. I'm with you. That's where your videos are. Got it. So I'll have to look at that. Okay. All right. I'll check it out. See, I was expecting the picture at Midwest Sportsnet, the YouTube channel, Midwest Sportsnet's YouTube channel, which, by the way, I guess I need to have a graphic on that one. Joey at MidwestSports.net. Joey at MidwestSports.net for email there. And all right. I think we've gone through. Sean, let me give a shout out to everyone really quickly, Doug. Sean was on from the very beginning. Michael's been online tonight. Dave, haven't heard from Dave or Matt since the beginning, but glad you guys have been watching tonight. Michael's on tonight. Leo is on tonight. Robert showed up. Tool Envy showed up. Charles got here, and really glad to get to see Charles' name back on there. We will be talking about some other quarterbacks in the future. I promise you, Charles, that is absolutely going to happen. And I think that we've hit just about everyone. All right. Got it. Absolutely. I got it. We're all good on that. Can't give away secret identities. Listen, when I show up, Doug, this silhouette, it's just me. Everybody knows that. So I used to have the long flowing blonde hair back in the 80s, but it's not there anymore. So right now, just a little bit of platinum in the beard, and that's about it.
That's the only snow I get where I'm from, is that's on the beard for sure. But man, looking forward to a great week of getting ready for this game as well. And I love what you're doing, love the venue, and love to be a part of it, my friend. And looking forward to seeing you guys.
All right, we will. We'll talk some on Saturday, and you're going to get to meet some of these other NAIA folks too. Robert, look forward to seeing you. Tool Envy, I look forward to seeing you. Tool Envy, I'm going to throw this one up here one last time, Doug. It was, in fact, glorious. That long blonde hair in the 80s was glorious, and there will be no pictures of that on tonight. Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet has some pictures, but that's another story entirely. All right.
Look, mine is this long, because if I try to grow it out, you remember those chia pets?
Uh-huh.
That's what it looks like, because it never will go back anywhere. So we just put it on number 2 and let it go.
There you go. It works, Doug.
Yes.
It works. You're rocking it. You're absolutely rocking it. All right. So everyone else, you guys are rocking it tonight. Keep thinking of a name for the community. Right now, we're going to stick with the neighborhood, I suppose, or just the community. But you all are absolutely the best. No doubt about it. Doug, it's a privilege to get to visit with you again tonight. I look forward to getting to meet you face-to-face on Saturday morning from Crowley ISD. Don't forget our regular time, 8 o'clock on Thursday night. We'll be back. We're going to talk Grandview. We're going to talk Kaiser and any other NAIA news that comes out, like any head coaching changes. If we hear about some things, there's a little bit more to talk about. I'm going to save that for Thursday, but there's a little bit more to talk about those head coaching spots and why I think we're about to hear a few more of them come out very, very quickly. Thanks to everyone tonight. God bless you all. Appreciate you all being here, and have a great week, 6 days away from Crowley ISD and the NAIA championship football game.